What's up, beautiful PHP community? How everyone is feeling today? Nice to see you all. Peak and Flow, what's up, dude? Ben and Toon, it's been a while. I know, dude. I know. Everything is happening literally in my life at the minute. I have events, I have conferences, I am sick. Like, literally everything is happening, but feeling better now. And I will be here for the next month, at least, in the very consistent schedule. Excited to see you all. Sanders GG, what's up, dude? Thanks for saying hi. I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. I from Azerbaijan. Well, I have never been there, but hi to you too, man. Nice to see you. GTS Meg, excited for the live stream too. Today we have amazing content coming up. Nice to see you all. Vinimbina, welcome back. Thank you, thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream about the PHP event though that we had 2 days ago. You know, that was a good one too. Patrick, nice to see you, man. How you doing? MV Popuk, nice to see you as well. Leonardo Vasconcelos, como é que está, amigo? Tudo bem? Nice to see you all. PHP community, you mean Nuno Nation? Well, exactly. Nice to see you, Nuno Nation. CVT Mal, how you doing, man? Nice to see you. First live stream for you? Well, welcome, man. If you don't know me, my name is Nuno Maduro, PHP and Laravel developer. I love what I do. And today we have amazing content, chat. We have amazing content. We are going to talk about mainly 3 videos. I don't know if you guys know Povilas. Probably you guys do. Povilas is an amazing content creator, and he has three videos that I want to watch and comment real time, okay? The first one is what Laravel devs need to learn. The second one will be DDD and Laravel, and the third one will be the PHP job market. And I think we can just watch the video, just pause it, have huge discussions about this, topics of the moment, and it will be absolutely fantastic. Before we jump into that, you guys have seen PHP 8.5 is out. Another great version of PHP, many new features, including the possibility of using static closures on attributes, which is literally one of my favorites, okay? Okay, this is probably my favorite feature on the PHP 8.5 release. However, the pipe operator, combined it with the improvements that will be made on the pipe operator for PHP 8.6 will become good. I don't think the pipe operator is any good at the moment, but it will be very good on the next version of PHP. Okay? Okay. PHP is here to stay, absolutely. So many people from Brazil here today. Super cool, man. Super cool. Before we jump into today's content, yeah, let's have a brief discussion about what's new on my Twitter. Obviously, PHP 8.5 is out. That was a nice release, chat, by the way, a nice release. Everyone talked about the PHP 8.5 release, and I was excited to see everyone happy about it as well. You know what I mean? David, nice to see you. Adrian, which literally doesn't have a name here. What's up, dude? Nice to see you. How you doing? Inertia GS obviously got a new website, which, in my opinion, looks awesome. And just between me and you, chat, this is how the PHP website should have been looked since the beginning. Anyways, this is beautiful, okay? Beautiful website about Inertia GS done by the Laravel team. I think is absolutely gorgeous, okay? Just the possibility of coming here and say, I use Laravel, but Laravel with React, and have these beautiful examples how to use Inertia within React. It's absolutely awesome. I love it. I think it's a great improvement on an Inertia GS website, and I think the entire Laravel team is happy about it. I think this is one of the best accomplished designs we have ever made at Laravel. I'm going to be honest, okay? I think we have great design work at Laravel, but this is one of the best so far, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think. That is just my opinion, okay? Okay. Quack is saying, when are you going to try native PHP? Real soon. Okay, that's happening. I'm waiting actually for Simon confirmation to try native PHP here on the stream, because I'm going to do it right. You know, I want to have a full live stream where it will be just absolutely awesome. And for that, I need to have Simon here, and it will be cool. Edgen is saying, looks fresh. GTS Mag is saying, great design. I also think that. I honestly think it's a great design with high contrast. Everything is super readable. I love it. Great job here. I think the people who have worked on this website is Jeremy, which is a designer at Laravel, and another dude, which I don't know who is. He might have been Joe Tenenbaum. Maybe. Okay? Maybe. Okay? Maybe. So that's Inertia GS. Okay, what else? We have news chat. PHP Lisbon happened, and I have live streamed the entire thing. I hope you guys have seen it, because it was pretty cool, okay? We have pretty much had about 40 people, even though like on the front you don't see a lot, but there was a lot of people on the back, basically, okay? It was an event with 40 people. Everything was recorded and live streamed for everyone. We had 100 people concurrently watching the live stream on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter combined, and TikTok as well. So that was a good one. And after, we managed to have like 30 people going to a pub local by, which I think was just absolutely awesome. Okay. AF Parento, we were literally talking about PHP Portugal, by the way, and you were a big part of making this event super successful, okay? PHP Portugal for the win, another event for the books. What else we have? Boo! Obviously, a bunch of Black Friday promotions, Laracasts, a new release by Adam Francis, and what else we have? Earth, of course, and all the Beyond Code team with a bunch of stuff as well. Native PHP, blah, 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 blah. What else we have? Anything else? I think that's it. We're ready to go, I think. And of course, the PHP 8.5 release, which you guys have seen already. We have already a huge video about PHP 8.5, the full release. If you haven't checked already, go check it out. It's probably one of my most successful one of the most successful videos I have on the channel, okay? Francisco Del Pablo, nice to see you, dude. How you doing? Adrian is asking, what is the ratio of PT meetup between male and female? It's actually it's there is some diversity. Obviously, we make our best to make it gender diversity as big as possible, but obviously there is more dudes than anything else. It's just because it's tech work, so kind of a shame, but it's what we have. Anyways, again, chat, if you just arrived, my name is Nuno Maduro, PHP and Laravel developer. I love what I do. Today we have 3 things on the pipe. We are going to react to 3 videos of Pavilas about what Laravel devs need to learn in 2025, but also DDD on Laravel, and finally, what's happening with the PHP job market. We're going to discuss all of this today. Okay? All of this today. Now, before we do that, let's say thanks to our sponsors. Of course, JetBrains, the best PHP storm, the best editor in the world. Native PHP, again, they're coming to the live stream, but they make PHP possible for building mobile applications. Redberry International, the best digital agency, making Laravel in Vue apps, and of course, Devin AI, the best way of delegating tasks to AI. Will basically get it done and open a pull request for you. CodeRabbit, if you want to have those pull requests being reviewed by an expert AI. And of course, laracast.com, the place where I've learned everything I knew. And chat, very important, they are actually, with a nice promotion, 50% off laracast.com. That being said, huge thanks to our sponsors. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Boo, 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 boo. JetBrains for the win. I do agree. GTS Mag is saying PHP Storm the best editor in the world. Chat, we have 50 people on YouTube, but only, let me guess, 27 likes. Not bad. YouTube people, go all the way down and put like on this video if you are enjoying today's live stream. That being said, let's get started, chat. Before we dive in hardcore, let me know how the sound is, okay? Is that any good? Is that any good, chat? Let me know. Let me know. It should be good, but if it's too low, let me know. Perfect sound. Wow, on the first go? Hoo-hoo-hoo. On the very first go? That's awesome. Veltix Official, how you doing, man? Boo, 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 boo. On the first go. Okay, we're ready to go. Okay. The very first video, we're going to react together. And again, I'm going to make a lot of pauses, okay? If you want to watch the video by yourself, this is the video. Okay. So when I'm watching, I'm going to make a lot of pauses, okay? It's just expected, okay? First video, we're going to start slow. What Laravel devs need to learn in 2025. Okay, apparently Pofilas ran a survey, and we are going to analyze all of the answers. So let's jump straight to the answers. Minute 1:24. Stack a clear split between Talk versus API frontend, or your interpretation is spot on. TAL filament users, typically for building your own small, medium projects, dashboards, SaaS prototypes. This is actually one of the many questions I have received recently, which is, would you choose the TAL stack or React or Vue with Inertia? And I have an opinion about this topic, and I want to hear your opinion as well. My opinion is that I would typically default for Inertia in React. Okay, if I'm building something at Laravel, for example, something like Cloud, for example, I would default for Inertia in React. And the reason it's because the market, especially on the front end, is just populated with React people, okay? If you want to find a very good front-end developer, there is a likelihood that the guy is just doing React for a living, you know? However, let me tell you this. If I'm not working within a company context, and if I'm doing things on my own, I'm going to be honest, the tall stack is very appealing for me because I'm super fast with it and I can make stuff happening more fast. And one of the good examples about this is Prinkity.com, okay? A social media that I have built on the weekend, literally, using the tall stack. And because I'm just fast with it, you know, I'm super fast with it. I have Very little experience though about how good Cloud Code is with Livewire. For those who are using Cloud Code and are using AI tooling with the tall stack, let me know how Cloud Code is with Livewire or with Alpine.js. I have literally no idea. Okay. Okay, Devin is saying the following. I agree the tall stack for personal projects is the GOAT. I agree, man. I agree. And let me Yuin is saying the following. Tall lover here for solo freelance is just awesome. Yeah, that's the thing, man. If you are a Laravel developer and you basically already mastered a tall stack, it's probably the best way of making stuff happen, you know? That's my feeling, okay? However, like if I'm joining a company with a bunch of front ends, I kind of don't have a choice because they don't know the tall stack to begin with, you know? That's the hard thing. You know? Okay, so Pick and Flow is saying the following. The Cloud Code does really well for Livewire and Vue for me. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Adrian is saying no video sound. What do you mean? On YouTube, people told me that the sound is perfect. But if it's not perfect, let me know. Let's make another test, chat. Let me know how the sound is. In 3, 2, 1, go. Come on, the sound is okay, right? Here we go. What the fuck? Okay, Holy Rot Fixer is saying the sound is good, but Adrian is saying no sound. What the heck? Everyone on Twitter, on YouTube is saying the sound is good. I can hear you, but not the video. Like, what the heck? How's that even possible? How that is even possible? Oh, there is no music at all, by the way. Just no music because there is no music. Wait, what? Celso is saying I cannot hear as well. Oh, you guys can hear me, but you cannot hear the YouTube video. Is that it? Oh, okay. Well, when I asked you about the... Okay, Roman is saying that the YouTube is good. Like, what the actual fuck? I'm so confused right now. Okay. All right. Let's do the following. Okay, let's do the following, chat. Let's do the following. I was trying to not activate one of the tools I have here, which apparently is causing some troubles. But let me try something real quick, chat. One moment for you all. One moment. Okay. Okay, chat. You guys cannot hear YouTube. Okay, I will fix that in a second. I will fix that ASAP. So I'm going to open something, call it... I literally forgot the tool name. I was trying to not use it today because I am concerned that that's actually the tool causing some troubles with the live stream. But I guess I don't have an option. So let's activate it. And let's see how it goes. Okay, attempt number 2 of listening Poe Villas. 3, 2,
or
1,
want
go.
to learn. And I asked ChatGPT to summarize some of the parts of the answers for me, of course anonymized. So with ChatGPT, I wanted to check whether my gut feeling from the answer...
Come on, now it's good, huh? Here we go. Is it too loud? It is good. Is it good? It's good. Okay, not too loud. I was expecting you guys to say it is too loud. But, okay, if it's not too loud, we're chilling. Perfetto. Maybe a little bit too loud? Okay, 1 second. Let's do like this. Just a bit loud, okay. Oh, thank you, Twitter people. I appreciate you guys being so awesome.
Answers is the...
Okay, so I guess like on the very first point, we kind of agree all together that the tall stack is undeniably good if you're a solo. It might become a little bit questionable depending on the type of people you have in your company. If you still have only Laravel developers that are familiar with Livewire, it's still good to go. But if you are joining a company where the front end needs to be, React, you kind of have to deal with React. I don't think React is that bad, by the way. I think React is actually good when combined with Inertia. It's still, I'm not as that productive as I am with a tall stack. Okay. So that being said, let's continue to hear this.
So with ChatGPT, I wanted to check whether my gut feeling from the answers is the same as kind of the numbers suggest. And the first topic that clearly went spot on is that there are two basically tribes in Laravel community: tall stack fans and JavaScript fans. Maybe fans is the wrong word, but actually what's important and interesting is that what they're using the stack for. And this is the correlation. Tall and filament users, filament was mentioned quite a lot, is...
That's a thing as well. Like, I actually think if you need an admin panel, using filament, because I feel like, and maybe this is something I feel, okay? I feel like using a filament backend when you have a React front end, it just feels to me that I'm using two front-end frameworks on the same project. You know what I mean? So typically so far, every single time I'm using Inertia with React, I use Nova. Every single time I'm using Livewire in Alpine, I use Filament. Just because I don't have to, I don't want to have a project where I have React plus Filament. It just feels two front-end frameworks, you know? It immediately feels legacy to me just because I'm using two front-end frameworks in the same project. It's a big play to me too.
The group that are building their own or smaller medium projects, prototypes, dashboards. And those who mentioned React or Vue with API or without API with Inertia.
Nova is on Vue, but you know, if you think a little bit, Vue and React are kind of small frameworks, you know. I don't care that much if I'm using React and Vue in the same project, but I do care if I'm using Livewire and React, for example, because they are totally different things.
Their goal is to look for jobs, create...
So I'm using like Nova in pretty much all of the projects I have built at Laravel. So Cloud is using Nova, but also like other stuff I have built at Laravel is using Nova as well.
Complex front ends, which in itself actually gives better chance to land a job. So if you're thinking what to learn, for example, Vue, React, or Livewire for the full stack.
I do think though that if you have a weekend and if you have something to learn, you should undeniably learn React or Vue. Meaning that if you are a tall developer, if you know about Livewire and Alpine, learning React will only bring you good things. Okay? Because there is a lot of stuff to do on React. So if you haven't used React, you should definitely just give it a try.
It depends on what you want to do. If you want to create...
By the way, Jonas, how you doing? Thanks for saying evening. Nice to see you, dude. How you doing, man? Sanders is saying the following: I have stopped using Nova. I understand. My Filament is so big at the moment. It's kind of hard to say no to Filament. So Nova on React would be great. Yeah, I mean, I think now it's just too late because a bunch of what Nova is on the front end is just custom Vue code. You know what I mean? So, yeah. By the way, chat, if you just arrived, my name is Nuno Maduro, PHP and Laravel developer. I absolutely love what I do. How many people do we have on YouTube at the minute? We have 60 people, but only 45 likes. Go all the way down YouTube, people, and put like on this video if you can. If you can.
Your own project fast, then go with Livewire and Filament, especially if you're a backend developer historically. But if you want to get job positions and work on bigger full stack dynamic projects,
okay, let's move all the way up to this stuff. Common projects, mostly SaaS, especially multi-tenancy. Completely agree. Even though people describe different ideas, marketplace, CRM, job board, product unclone, etc., certainly they are all SaaS applications. User roles, subscriptions, teams, dashboards, CRUDs, filters, permissions, queues, emails. Yeah, man, in general, I think I only have built SaaS so far, you know. Like all of my apps in Laravel, all of them have users. I have rarely built a static application besides my own website. I think the only thing I have built statically in the last couple months is literally my own website, okay? Which is this. And this is using actually Rust at the minute with simple HTML. But the rest of my stuff, Cloud, Pinquery, pastphp.com, in many other websites, all of them have users. They are highly complex business applications written in Laravel, okay? And I think that's what Laravel people are doing. I don't think Laravel people are using Laravel and not using the database or not using users, for example, Past docs are built with Laravel. Exactly. I mean, it's full written on Laravel at the minute. Melok is saying the following: the only downside of Inertia is SSR. It really sucks in conflict with most packages. Really? I'm using SSR in Inertia and it just works. What do you mean about that? Can you elaborate?
Built, whether for themselves or to showcase their knowledge.
What else we have? Let's go. Struggles. Ooh, what are the struggles of developers at the minute?
And what they want to improve their knowledge in. So queues are always on.
Queues deployment in complex, eloquent queries. These are apparently on his quiz, apparently repeatedly, where developers struggle with queues, background jobs. Many devs still haven't mastered async thinking. For me, it's super simple. If you have anything that it can be blocking, it's kind of simple, chat, okay? If you are writing code within your action, okay, basically you have a controller with dispatches an action, and within that action, if you have something that can become blocking or can become problematic, just do that as a queue job. That's it, period. Okay, it's actually quite simple. If you are sending an email, if you are making a screenshot, if you are doing anything that potential will become blocking, like taking more than, I don't know, 20 milliseconds, 30 milliseconds, 50 milliseconds, just dispatch that as a queue job. That's it. Kind of simple. That's the only thing you have to do. Okay? It can be, if it becomes blocking, dispatch a queue job. Period. Okay? GTS Meg is saying the following: thank God we now have Laravel Cloud. We do agree on that one. They need more JavaScript to improve the async mind. I think it's a little bit different, though, in the sense that in JavaScript, things are asynchronous by default, meaning that, when you call something like await, you are actually moving the event looping to another space on the runtime, meaning that it can handle other requests, So nothing is blocking really. While in PHP, if you actually take 200 milliseconds for something gets sent, like an email, you are blocking that FPM pool, basically. So that FPM pool won't be actually receiving more requests. That's something to keep in mind. PHP architecture is different from GS event loop. Exactly. Basically that. Okay, basically that. What's up, dude, from Barcelona once again. Nice to see you, man. Welcome back to the live stream. By the way, chat, if you just arrived, go all the way down and subscribe my channel. I'm also on YouTube. Okay? YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. I'm on all those things, okay? Let's actually talk about that real quick. If you guys have TikTok, I do. Just subscribe me there, okay? I have a bunch of PHP videos over there. I'm also on Instagram, okay? Okay. Instagram for the win. Some food pictures and gym pictures. What else I'm on? Oh, my brother is doing clips for me. Okay. So make sure you subscribe to my clips channel as well. Okay. Here we go. Oh, here, interesting. Edgeuse is saying that he sees PHP queues as some GS loop. It's a little bit different because, again, on JavaScript, things are event looping by default, meaning that within the request, like imagine that you have a request handler, like a controller in Laravel, and you just do something like getting a file. That operation is happening asynchronously, meaning that the runtime will jump to another space within the runtime while the file is being fetched from the system, okay? In PHP, it's not like that, meaning that we actually need to dispatch a queue job to make sure the system is free to handle another requests, okay? So, in general, if it's blocking, dispatch a queue job. Deployments, the only thing you have to do is just use Laravel Cloud, and that's it. Even today, I literally shipped an entire app on Laravel Cloud with S3 buckets, with queues, with emails, and everything. It really just works. Complex, eloquent queries. That's something like, if I were to pick any of these three topics to be difficult for me, complex eloquent queries is probably one of them. I kind of know how to do complex eloquent queries, but it's not obvious to me what to optimize immediately, even though I can use the explain to trying to understand what needs to be optimized and everything. But obviously designing a perfect relation database is always something tricky. My job, Roger is saying my job is have to DDD with SQRS. We are going to talk about DDD and Laravel today. Okay? Today. Hi from BM Rain. What's up, dude? Nice to see you. Andrew is saying the following. Is it eloquent complexity or query complexity? I feel like people combine them two when they talk about this. You know, when they talk about this, they combine them two. That's my opinion. That's what I think. Okay. Anyways, chat, let's continue to see what people have been keen to learn when doing Laravel. What else we have here? Let's jump straight to this.
Recently that almost for any topic, web development or development in general, there are levels. Like you can learn by reading or watching a tutorial, then you can practice something locally, but this is...
I jump straight to level 1. Like when I want to learn something, like for example, if I want to learn Go, reading doesn't work for me, okay? So I don't read shit. I literally pull the language locally and I start to playing with the language. And that's why I learn things. I need to pull them locally and build something with those things. So I immediately go to level 1.
Level 1, and this is not where you actually learn, in my opinion, fully. The actual learning comes from practical, real project deployed on live server or staging server. Ideally, it's your own like SaaS business or something. It doesn't necessarily even have to be successful.
The cool thing about LLMs when you are learning something new is that you can just, if you have a question, you can just say, I have this question and I don't understand this in this way. And the LLM will just tell you the answer in the very perfect, clear way, which is
essentially. But then you have a feeling of managing real users, real traffic, real data, struggling with real challenges. If you do that in a team, it's even better. This is what the employers need when they say job practical experience in the job descriptions. So yeah, especially with queues, real learning comes when you're trying to handle thousands of emails in the queue or something like that. Which leads us to the second struggle.
Yeah, I think that's it for Povilla. So basically, Povilla's just did a quiz to people to try to understand the struggles of Laravel developers and what they should learn. And in general, from my opinion, obviously, I think React is something that you need to learn in 2025, even as a Laravel developer. And regarding deployments, queues, and all those things, I think Laravel Cloud is here to just kind of save us a little bit our pain on that topic. Bam, bam, boom. Let's jump into the second video chat. So we have now DDD and Laravel, and we have PHP job market. Write on the chat which one of these two you want first, DDD or PHP job market. Let's see what people think. LOJ33 saying the following: queues have a lot of magic. If you have something straightforward, it works. However, very complicated stuff, it can be hard because all the magic queues have. I don't call it that queues though. I don't call that magic. I think queues have a lot of sugar in the sense that they log errors automatically. They have things like timeouts and a bunch of options that you can just specify how you want your queue job to run. I like that. I appreciate that. Okay. People are saying that job market is a depressing topic. A lot of people saying DDD. Sanders is literally spamming DDD at the minute. Okay, let's talk about DDD, chat. You guys up for DDD? Okay, let's talk about DDD. How many of you know what DDD is? Okay, how many of you knows what DDD is? By the way, DDD stands for Domain-Driven Design. Okay, and it's about kind of have a separation of concerns of your entire application structure or entire architecture of your app. I have developed apps in DDD or using DDD. And what I do like about that, I'm not using it currently when developing in Laravel, but what I did like about that in the past is that at least there was consistency in the way where people put things or where they put things at least. And I did like that, So if I have, let's say, something that should touch on the infrastructure, there is a place for that. If I have something that belongs to, a particular computation on the domain belongs to the domain folder. And I did appreciate that. And, let's see what Povilas thinks about this. It will be awesome. It will be awesome. Why people cares about folders too much? I think Taylor tweeted that one day. Yeah, I think obviously when you structure an application, there is multiple things you can do to structure that app. You can organize folders by domain, for example, by modules, or you can organize things by type. I'm a big fan of organizing things by type, meaning that if you have models, they goes within the models folder. If you have controllers, they go within HTTP controllers. But there are people who don't think folders are important, and they like everything, separate by module, separate by domain, let's say. So if you have a user's domain, the controller, the model, everything goes in the same place, which I'm not a big fan of, but let's see what people think. People super into DDD. Oh my God. DPL, how you doing, man? Welcome again. Nice to see you. No, I don't think that was his goal. He obviously have built great things in the past, and I do know for a fact that one of my favorite projects that I've worked on, called Laravel Vapor, it's beautifully organized, and I think like I took many of those learnings into Laravel Cloud, and I think Laravel Cloud is source code. It's literally a piece of art at the minute, and I hope one day some of that stuff will be public. I don't think it will, but if it were to be public, I think Laravel Cloud is one of is undeniably one of the best projects I have ever built in my life. Okay. Okay. Nice to see you, chat. By the way, go all the way down on YouTube and put like on this video if you are enjoying today's conversation. Okay. DDD, domain-driven design in Laravel, my interpretation with clear examples. Let's see what people think.
Hello guys, today I want to explain the logic behind domain-driven design with examples of Laravel. And the term domain-driven design is not Laravel, it's not about PHP, it's way outside of the framework and programming language. It's a term, it's a concept, and this is the definition I found best on Reddit. Also, another definition is by Martin Fowler. It comes from 2020, but based on a book from 2003.
Is it funny that he found a definition of DDD on Reddit, this very legit place, and then I also found a definition of DDD from Martin Fowler, which is one of the best authors about DDD in the planet. So two amazing references, Reddit, but also Martin Fowler.
Not a new concept, it's approach to software development that centers on processes and rules of a domain.
By the way, chat, I do think that this book right here, which is most known as the Blue Book on DDD, is one of my favorite DDD books. So if you guys want to learn more about DDD, this is absolutely a good resource to learn DDD. Okay, by Eric Evans. Okay. And at least from my understanding, the book was not a complicated reading. It was actually an easy one.
What does that actually mean? So for the last month or so, I was trying to explore, experiment, asking AI as well, because there are a lot of interpretations of DDD, specifically in Laravel. You may find different examples, open source, and tutorials with different folder structure, different naming of things, different approaches. So I was thinking how to explain it and kind of summarize it for people in simple example. Because domain-driven design is not for simple projects. So how?
Yeah, by the way, there is nothing simple about DDD, meaning that the explanations that people give about DDD typically, not always, but typically, they don't fit the real world in the sense that, the real world runs on to-do lists, on pizza menus, on very simple websites. And typically when people come to you explaining what DDD is about, they mention terms that are, they may be a little bit complicated for you. Things like domain, things like, processes, rules, like they come with some terminology which is not immediately obvious for some of us, And I do think same happens with event sourcing, meaning that event sourcing is something that I do understand what it is, but it took me a while to kind of understand what it is because they have a lot of complicated things like projectors and, this kind of terminology which is not easy to follow.
To dissect it down. And I think I succeeded in a new course about Laravel modules and DDD. So there's a 1-hour section about domain-driven design, and in this video I'll try to summarize it even more for you with totally different. And let me explain that in this video. So if we take a look at a typical DDD structure inside of Laravel application.
So this is this structure you see here. It's still the one I used to use when I was using DDD in Laravel, where we have the presentation layer, which typically things like blade views go. We have the infrastructure layer where things like logging, things like storage, and many of those infrastructure-related things go. We have domain. The problem is that when we have this kind of folders in Laravel, and we do DDD in Laravel, it becomes super tricky because things like the model object, they do a lot of things, you know. The model object does a lot of things. First of all, couples you to the framework itself, which typically within the domain, you should not do this. If you follow the blue book, by the book. And, you know, that was one of the most tricky things to do when I was doing DDD within Laravel. So, you know, maybe Povilas have an explanation for this.
This is way outside of Laravel terms. So we have application with DTOs, queries, commands, and stuff like that. Then we have domain with entities, and some of the folders and the names may be familiar to you in Laravel. And then only on some layer we get to controllers and eloquent models and familiar structure with Laravel.
Yeah, I think like one of the perfect examples is, you know, controllers and model route binding. For example, if you have a controller which accepts, let's say, a to-do model on the route, for example, and you are using route model binding, typically you are accessing the database on the controller, which immediately goes out of the DDD way because you are accessing, you know, the database on a layer that you shouldn't. So it's just complicated, at least in Laravel, I feel.
And at first it may look like a total overkill to you, total over-engineering, and in most cases...
And it is. Just between me and you, it is. DDD and Laravel is something that, if you need DDD, you probably shouldn't be using PHP and Laravel to begin with. That is just my opinion. Okay. GTS Meg is saying the following: DDD doesn't fit well Laravel. It is not. It does not. It does not, yeah. Andrew is saying the following: same goes for form requests, I suppose, but I'm learning here. Yeah, I know. Francisco Pablo is saying the following: I don't like DDD. Well, you know, for Laravel, I don't think is a good fit. 100% sure it's not a good fit, actually. Okay. Yamdabar101 is saying the following: I got asked on DDD on the Laravel interview. Oh, interesting. I mean, if you are using vanilla Node, for example, or vanilla PHP or vanilla Go, actually DDD might be a good thing for you because at least gives you a structure, okay?
In fact, it is, but let me try to explain the way of thinking why that structure may be.
Exactly. CVT Mother is saying that DDD in Symfony is pure gold. I think DDD is probably way better suited for Symfony than Laravel because on Symfony you have data mappers, you have you have kind of you have kind of a way of using DDD. While in Laravel, you would be neglecting some of the best Laravel features to be able to use DDD, which is just stupid in my opinion.
Beneficial if you start with very small Laravel typical controller. So let's start with a simple example which probably everyone will be familiar with. A typical Laravel controller with validation in form request and...
You see, when you do something like this, post create, this is already happening. Well, there is multiple problems, like DDD, first of all, this is coupling you to the framework, which is against DDD. You are also accessing the report, you are accessing the infrastructure layer directly in your controller, which you shouldn't. So multiple problems here.
Store and update methods, you have different form request classes because the rules are a little bit different for store and update. And inside of that store post request, we have rules for title, content, and slug in the store request. And then in the update request, the only difference is unique, which should ignore the current post ID being.
It blows my mind when I see, like, for example, all of the rules being on the string representation, and suddenly I see like a class being used. Is just, for me, triggers my brain immediately, you know. I have a very sensitive brain when it comes to review pull requests or review code, and I don't like inconsistencies. And like for me, like if you are using the string representation of rules all the time, suddenly like why would you use the rule class. You know, you can just keep using the string representation of it.
Updated. I think majority of Laravel developers have done something like that in their career. And this approach is okay. It works. There's nothing
By the way, chat, compact, no good, huh?
really wrong with that. You could even potentially reuse those form requests in another controller like API controller. So I created specifically post controller API with similar store and update methods.
Compact OG? What do you mean, Adrian? Why would you use compact? Come on, you fucking with me. No good, huh? Yeah, compact is no good. It's too much logic, okay? Why no good? Oh my god. Because it's magic, man. It's not static analyzable to begin with. You cannot use PHP standard in a good way using compact. Oh my god, now the live stream will be about the compact. I knew. It's just crazy. Everyone is saying why compact is no good. I always used compact. Because it's magical. You know, it's like extract. Compact and extract are part of it, are two functions in PHP that should be deprecated, basically. Period. Then stop using PHP stand. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you don't want to use compact, chat, okay? All right. I don't want to discuss too much about that, but just ask ChatGPT the following. You are Nuno Maduro, a very strict PHP developer. Should I be using compact? Just use that prompt to ChatGPT and you will see. Just use that, all right?
Reusing the same form requests, because form requests are in app HTTP requests. They are not related to API or admin or web specifically. So they are.
By the way, chat, if you don't know me, my name is Nuno Maduro, PHP and Laravel developer. Be sure to put like on my video today, but also go to my YouTube channel and subscribe my channel, okay? Be sure to also subscribe my new clips channel, okay? Insanely important. Insanely, mega, super important, okay, chat? Exactly. Passing parameters more explicitly is just better. The AI always use it because it's been trained on old PHP code.
Reusable, which is great, but the main problem with this approach is that the logic of validation is in two separate places. So imagine some colleague from your team asks you, could you check what is the length the
By the way, chat, I'm super into a code review today for some reason. If you guys have any project like around that is open source and it's a Laravel app, send me that so we can just talk a little bit about code. If you guys are up for some code reviewing.
max length of the post currently in our system. Where do you go to check that? You have store post request here, and you can find that the validation is
Stop. You see? Now here we are using the unique representation of the unique rule, you know. So why was it not being used literally on the previous form request?
Max 150, but you need to double check that with update form request.
Gibel is saying that someone posted a new project on the review project today. Oh, seriously? Let me see. Let me see that. Let me see. Yeah, the string unique rule can also receive arguments, including the ID that should be ignored. Okay. All right, Diabel is saying that someone posted. Yeah, I saw that, Diabel, but this project is like a package. And I typically like to review actual projects. Diabel, go there and try to find me an application if you can, please.
The same. So you go to update post request and double check that, yeah, it is 150. Of course, you can go to just create form request and not check update form request, but then you need to trust that no one made a typo and mistake and those strings are actually identical in two classes. Similarly, for example, what if some manager asks you to make content?
Boyd is saying the following. I didn't know about the extract function. Now I will use it everywhere. Well, perfect. Yeah, just no.
Optional. For example, when adding a post, the title and the slug are required because we're planning the post, but the content could be written later, right? So then that required should be changed to optional, but then you need to do that in two places, in update post request and in store post request twice. And of course, this is easy if that is the code you wrote, so you remember that is in 2 places, or if the code base is not that project manager.
Okay, for some reason, I literally thought this video would be way more about DDD instead of just, talking about code and shit like that. And my TLDR about this is that, yeah, DDD is not made for Laravel, okay? If anyone told you that DDD is a good thing for Laravel, it's not. You will be neglecting features of Laravel if you are using DDD by the book, which, if you are not, why are you using DDD to begin with, okay? The next stop will be the PHP job market. Is that bad? In chat, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest. I love PHP, but it's undeniably true that the PHP job market have changed in the last 5 years, okay? I do feel that. That is basically less PHP positions, and I do see that. Although, I do think it's our fault because PHP has been sleepy on making, on making content around PHP, okay? The reality is that the world right now runs on influencers, okay? It runs on YouTubers like me, like Paul Villas, like many people who create content about the things they love. And I do think PHP have spent many years without people creating content about the language, and I don't think we are enough. I think we are actually very few at the minute. And hopefully in the future, we are going to be more. But the JavaScript world, they have like so many. They have so many people. And that's why everyone is like doing JavaScript at the minute. Okay. FaceNam, what's up, dude? Nice to see you. Yamdabad is saying that he just sent a project on Discord. Thank you. Dival is saying, I want this reaction. Let's do it, dude. Juanito is saying the following. Is he talking about dry code now? I don't know. Interview answered locked in. Boo, 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 boo. Chat, I love you all. Don't forget, go all the way down and put like on this video if you can.
Hello guys, this will be a bit unusual video on this channel. I decided to just talk to you more outside of technical tips and demo projects. Let's just discuss more often the trends, things that are on my mind related to Laravel and PHP and job market and stuff like that. For those of you who are following the channel for a longer time, you may remember videos from my
So, Juanito is saying the following. There is a lot of PHP content, but not a lot of modern PHP content. So, I think like the content I'm talking about is not like expert content. It's more like content that you would have fun to watch. I think there's a lot of boring PHP content out there. And I'm more talking about PHP content that kids would look at, okay? And if any of you have kids or nephews, if you just check the type of content they are watching at the minute, it's not boring stuff. It's shorts, it's content which is fast-paced, is live streaming, it's stuff that we wouldn't watch when we were young, but they're watching that type of content right now. And I think kids from the 18s and 20s, they also like that type of content. And that's the type of stuff we need to do. Entertaining content, exactly. That's what a type of, that was the expression I was looking for, okay? Attracting PHP content is nearly zero, I know. And I think like, that's what I was trying to do on my very early videos. And I think these were very successful videos, by the way. And I need to do more of this. The problem about this video, chat, I'm going to be honest with you, is that I don't feel my channel is moving as fast as I want, So I wanted to reach the end of the year with 100K subscribers, and I'm literally with 20. I'm gonna end the year with 25 or something like that, which it's just way too slow for me, okay? And so what I'm trying to do now is I obviously want to continue to live stream because I love to do this, but I want to come up with a strategy that brings me 100K in 4 months. And for that, what I will have to do, I think, is really invest in quality videos in the future. So every single time people will see a video on this YouTube channel, it needs to be a fucking masterpiece of content. So I'm still thinking, elaborating, talking with my brother at the minute. Maybe I will have to actually bring people to my YouTube channel, like actually hire people dedicated to this topic, but I will still have to see. Okay. Okay. You need to play the YouTube video game. I think, I have done that on this kind of videos right here. I have played that game, but it's still not as fast as I want. you know, like if I continue down this path, by the end of next year, I would have 50K. And for me, that's too slow. No way I will spend in a year like I have done in the past and have 50K by the end within 12 months. It's just too slow for me. So I will have to rethink my strategy and really truly invest in quality. Like I will have to buy material. I will have to think out of the box. I will have to go outside of my comfort zone. I will have to think about ideas. And yeah, they will come. They will come. I'm pretty sure about that. Open the code and do something. Well, I actually have done a bunch of live streaming code content, and that works, but it works as good as any other type of content, you know? It is fun, brings subscribers, but again, I'm looking for having a 10x on my number of subscribers in 12 months. So, you know, I think opening the code editor would bring me joy for sure, like these videos bring me today, but I'm looking into a 10x. So you need viral videos. Yeah, well, you know, the viral videos is something a little bit tricky, by the way. Pick and Flow, thank you so much for the tier 1. Oh my God, how many? 5 tier 1 subs gifted. Thank you so much for appreciating my work. Thank you so much, man. Thank you. Something I may have to consider though is that you know, I really will have to invest in quality basically. So I will have to buy material. I will have to hire people, and come to with really stuff out of the box, stuff that you wouldn't see on any other channel, basically. Okay. Do PHP don't suck videos. Coding streams, they don't bring. Well, I did a bunch of them. If you guys go to my live stream right now, if you click on this separated, call it live, and you go all the way down, you will find hundreds of live coding streams. Okay, and they are fun. I have fun doing them, but again, they don't bring me that 10x on, you know. DBL is saying, do you want to hire me? I don't know, man. Maybe, you know, I'm literally working with my brother at the minute. My brother is joining me for this YouTube story. And, he's becoming better and better editing. And maybe in the future will become really good. And that will, you know, make me hire second people. Let's see how it goes. I was just saying that regarding viral videos, the challenge around viral videos is that I want to be very respectable about the people who watch me. Okay, it would be super easy to be controversial and have a bunch of subscribers, like many YouTubers, which I won't tell you the name, are doing. Meaning that it would be easy to be very, very controversial and very viral. For example, I could say, "Cloud Code is here. We are dead." And after 2 days, Cloud Code sucks. You know, I could do these kind of things, but that brings you subscribers and views for sure. But brings you another thing aside, which is some negative influential around your channel. You know what I mean? So not everyone would love you for that. That's what I was trying to say. So it's very tricky, man, because I want to kind of grow, but using a path that I would be proud of, basically. Exactly. I want to have quality subscribers. Exactly. You know, I want to have. I would rather have 50K subscribers that really enjoy me and enjoy my work and keep following me than having 200K subscribers that many of them, if not all of them, see my work so they can say shit about me. That's basically it. Okay. So I hope you guys understand that. At the same time, yeah, on the channel, I'm currently thinking about ways of literally making that 10x. And it will have to be something truly, quality oriented. It will have to be different. But something I will continue to invest on. And live stream is one example. I love live streaming. It's something that really makes me happy. And I will continue to do that forever. That's for sure. Gaming live streams, dude, I did one last Sunday. I love it, I love video game live streams, okay? Adrian is saying, why don't you apply for Roman's job? Because I have a job, dude. I'm working at Laravel, and I'm doing YouTube content. Like, why would I want to do that? It doesn't make sense for me. With so many stuff I have coming on, it just doesn't make any sense for me. Plus, I like to work at Laravel, so.
Every Saturday when I was giving tips on career and freelancing and productivity.
But yeah, Chat, just to finish the discussion of my YouTube channel, what I really want to do, and you guys are going to see a video coming soon on that. You guys are going to see a video about me on PHP Portugal as a vlog. So you guys are going to see recordings of me going to Lisbon, my hotel room, having food at the hotel, arriving to the meetup location. So this will be different. I don't know if it will work, but it's different. So my brother came with me. I literally paid all my brother trip, including hotel and everything, so we could like record all of these moments, and we are going to assemble all these moments to a simple condensed video. And I want to see if that video works. Maybe it will work, because it's something that, well, you have a lot of vlogs of fashion people, a lot of vlogs of sports people, but there is no vlogs about developers. Like, I don't think there is any, besides people going to work and like showing a little bit how their day looks like. So yeah, it will be something around that. Okay. Looking forward to it. Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
So something like that, I want to get back.
If you just arrived, my name is Nuno Maduro, PHP and Laravel developer. I love what I do. Go all the way down and like this video if you are enjoying today's content.
On this channel if I have time. And the first example is this. I want to discuss and react on a Reddit post from PHP, staying relevant today as a PHP developer. This is a fast.
So Pupok is saying the following: a day in life of a developer working at Laravel. Yeah, that could be an example video. Could be an example video. So how my day looks like exactly at working at Laravel. That could be an example indeed. Josh made that, I think. I don't think he did. By the way, chat, Josh Siri is one of my favorite YouTubers. Okay. It's kind of makes me sad to see the slow progression on his YouTube channel, because he is so good as a YouTuber. I think the guy literally hits every single spot of being a good YouTuber. Like, his thumbnails, all of them are perfect. The content every time is good. He is a great YouTuber, honestly. If I were, I would expect this guy to have 100K subscribers, because he is so good. Is very good content indeed. He is very good. He's also like doing live streams now at Fridays at the minute. And regarding also quality content, I think, like, for example, this is a very good example. Let's be honest, of quality content that I'm thinking about bringing for the channel. I'm still trying to understand a bunch of this shit, but this is one of the videos that I really enjoyed to watch that I have done recently. Some of you haven't used PHP for 20. Like you might think, PHP just like type. So obviously this video was fully scripted, meaning that I had the script in place and I recorded it, and obviously paid off. So this is what the type of videos I want to bring. And I think like this video have bring way more subscribers, for example, than this, and this combined. And was way less work than this, for example, because this video was a lot of work at the minute. Okay. Popok is saying, I need to continue the Laravel YouTube channel. Why didn't you continue? What did you stop at any minute? If yes, why?
Fascinating personal story, and we can discuss what is happening with PHP right now on the market. I will give you 4 pieces of my opinion related to this topic, and you can pause and read that in full, and I will link that also in the description below the original Reddit post. But this is the thing. PHP developer for 20 years, now out of job in the UK and real lack of jobs in PHP, and majority offer poor salary compared to other languages. Also, the general sentiment of recruiters hit with PHP, and also the salary from 120k, it gets down to 40, 50k for similar, I guess, position.
Yeah, 40k living on UK a year is a very bad salary, by the way. Okay, meaning that post taxes, this goes down to like, I don't know, 25k a year, which is crazy low. As a PHP developer, of course.
And this post received 100 upvotes and more than 100 comments, so I advise you to read it in full, but let's focus on 4 things I can say.
No, it's kind of, I think it has to be because there is literally a lot of React developers at the minute. So, people just come out of university just doing React. And those developers, they are easy to hire, of course. And when you come out of your PHP job, you see that every company is doing React and JavaScript. So that's why it's like kind of becoming difficult.
Here based on some comments from Reddit users. So first comment I want to discuss is from PHDamon, and this is probably the most upvoted one, which basically says that if you're a good developer, you can switch from PHP to other languages relatively easily because you understand.
This is true, by the way. A lot of people think that if you know a language, you will just be stuck forever on that language. There is a likelihood that you are going to end up doing that language forever, but if you really want to switch languages, it's actually super easy to learn any other language, because on the moment you know what is a function is, what is a variable, how to organize code, it's actually like that on any other language, okay? Obviously, you will have to deal with things that you haven't seen before. If you are going to jump from PHP to Rust, you'll need to learn about memory management and all those things that do not exist on PHP. So
the concept of development, and I generally agree with that sentiment. You need to adapt to the market, and he also says in another reply, the market isn't looking for PHP, so you need to adapt. And also another quote, you gotta go where the money is. And in this video, I'm not trying to fake defend PHP. It's pretty hard for PHP developers in general. It's a bit different story with Laravel. Actually, so PHP and Laravel, it's kind of funny. It feels like 2 different communities. So PHP as a language, it's not sexy. It doesn't get enough credits on the market by recruiters. But if you work with Laravel, it feels more sexy. It feels more growing, more hype around it, more success stories and stuff like that. And I want to continue this trend of Laravel growth, and I will showcase the examples on my channel. I will keep teaching and showing what Laravel is capable.
Borda Sirti is saying the following: do you think PHP will ever support typed arrays? I think so, yeah. I'm pretty sure it is in their goals in the future. Garf is saying the following: try more proof of concept, no magic, show how to repeat everything from zero. PHP devs are limited. For those who can be interested concepts from zero, a new language could be a programmer. Yeah, you mean very basic content. I don't know. Francisco Del Pablo is saying the following: I think Laravel should have more influence on the PHP development. Yeah, you mean be more connected with the PHP Foundation? Yeah, I actually, during the PHP Portugal meetup, one of the board members of the PHP Foundation, Sarah Gulliman, was there. And one of the remarks I said to her was, I think I would love to be more involved with the PHP Foundation, not as taking decisions or anything, but to kind of fill the gap between real world PHP developers and you guys, because of course there's many more people using PHP than the ones that are creating PHP, and I do think like it's beneficial to kind of fill the gap between the PHP Foundation and these people by having a content creator who just fills people about what's happening within the PHP Foundation. So maybe that will happen. I don't know. I need to talk with them a little bit. Aegis is saying they talk about PHP generics every year. It's not a thing. It's not an easy thing to solve. Maybe that will come. We don't know. But it's not an easy thing to solve. Yamdabad is saying that we need to convince the big companies to use PHP and salaries will raise a little bit. I don't think that will happen, but yeah.
off, but don't get me wrong. If the market is asking for other languages at the moment and you feel you would get more opportunities with like Node.js or Python or whatever, you need to be ready to adapt. This is kind of my overall message. So even myself, I'm trying to adapt to trends. So I started a Filament channel, which is still Laravel, but separate branch. I also started AI coding channel. I'm trying to experiment with
How is AI coding channel is doing at the minute? Let me see. Does any of you know how is it called, the AI channel of Povilas? If you have the channel link, let me know in the comments.
that. I did try Python channel
ACVTM, I'll catch you next time.
in the past. There's Python ML.
Okay, people are writing that it's called AI Daily. Okay. So I just type AI Daily on YouTube. AI Daily Povilas. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's going slow. Yep. There is definitely like a lot of audience for this kind of stuff. There is a lot of people who love to see how how models are doing, which model is better for doing XYZ and everything. So he is literally adapting to trends. That's for sure.
Daily, which is still probably alive, but I haven't found my niche of content creator with Python because it's overcrowded. But yeah, in my mind, I'm a Laravel developer first, but I'm trying to experiment with other technologies if I feel the need. Even for Laravel developers, I'm trying to add more topics on Laravel Daily for full stack developers like React.js, like native PHP or Livewire. Maybe in the future I will shoot a course about, for example, Next.js for Laravel developers and stuff like that. Generally, my first advice from this topic, from this post, is be flexible. The next thing from this post, and not only from this post in general, that the market is currently very hard for jobs for developers. Especially for juniors, that is really hard, but even for mid-level, with tech layoffs, there are many more developers than job positions. It's not that the job position...
That's a good point. I actually don't know anyone who is currently seeking for a job position, meaning that all of my friends or all of the people that I do know that do software engineering, they do have jobs. Let me know if any of you is currently seeking for a job. But I do see that, developers' jobs are dying. People are talking about that, but I don't see actually people like getting out of jobs. But so Diabel and Emege is saying that they are currently unemployed. Jesus Christ. So why do you think that happens though? Like, do you guys? What is the problem at the minute? Is just finding companies seeking for developers? Is just interesting. So a few people here on the chat, Twitch, YouTube as well, complaining about the same problem. I didn't know about that. At least in my group of friends, that doesn't happen at the minute. So I'm sorry. I apologize. So do you guys think that happens because they are seeking for another different set of skills, or it's happening because maybe their expectations of skills is not the same one as you guys? What do you think is happening? Well, that's a good point, though. So Adam Fee is saying the following: most companies nowadays don't hire junior developers. And I think that's something you guys will need to adapt, by the way. Just because AI can do what junior developers were doing in the past, okay? So that happens with me. Like, for example, if I'm working on the feature, if I have this very easy task to finish real quick, and it's something that a junior would do, I don't ask a junior anymore. I just ask AI to do it, because if it's easy, AI can do it, you know? Exactly what Urafi is saying. Most junior tasks are done by AI. In companies, yeah, looking for JavaScript developers, that are expected. So you can literally also learn JavaScript. Again, if you do PHP, you can learn JavaScript fairly quickly. DBL is saying the following: I was fed up with my company, but I didn't find any web-specific job in my region. I was just too young for a lot of people. Interesting. Well, DBL, an advice that I have to you, dude, apparently you are still young, is that just keep learning, you know? Just keep being consistent on learning every single day, on building products for yourself, building things for yourself. At some point, if you keep grinding, if you keep, learning every single day, you will just become very good. It's not it's not difficult to become very good, by the way. Okay? A lot of people in this world, they are very lazy. And if you just work hard every single day, it will just pay off. I can promise you that. So good luck on that one, man. Hey, Chico, what's up, dude? Nice to see you. Pick and Flow is saying the following: backend skills seems much harder to master than front end to me, but I could be biased. Well, I think it's the other way around. I think there is front end skills that I will never master. Things like design or CSS is just difficult for me. I think I would be able to master CSS, but I think like having that creativity to have a beautiful front end is something that I don't think I will ever have. AI, it's much helpful on that one though, but Dimitri is saying the following: from 10 to 20 contacts from LinkedIn recruiters in LinkedIn 5 years ago, I get 1 to 2 tops now. That's interesting. Yeah, I think there is two ways of doing front end indeed. There is the front end, which is pixel perfect, and there is the front end, which is, okay. And doing something pixel perfect is so much different. Yamdabad is saying the following: but do you advise people to learn things like Java, Spring Boot, besides Laravel, to avoid layoff risks? I don't think I think once you learn the framework, this is, you might think this is not true, but it is. Once you learn the framework, the likelihood that the other frameworks will look similar is so high. Like, I can tell you that I am a Django and the Rails developer, even without having actually doing professionally any of those two frameworks. And the reason is because they have the same features as we do at Laravel. Maybe a little bit different with different names, but it's kind of the same shit, They have form requests, they have controllers, they have models, and they are kind of similar in that way. Obviously, they don't have the scope of features that Laravel have, but they kind of provide you the same stuff. So same goes with languages. Once you learn PHP, you're kind of chilling because you can quickly learn any other language in a week. So yeah, that's true, Adrian. It's not equal to Laravel, but once you learn Laravel, you're chilling. GTS Mega saying that Spring Boot has a very steep learning curve. Interesting.
Are disappearing because in multiple case studies I've seen that the amount of jobs is roughly the same. Actually, it's just that the amount of developers by supply and demand is not in favor of the...
It's been the last time I had a job interview was 10 years ago. I would be scared if I were to do a job interview. Like, I would be generally curious what is the type of questions that people are making on job interviews. The last one I had was 10 years ago, and I was dressed properly. I was trying to find my first job in France, and I was dressed properly, coming to the job interview. I have studied for the thing, tried to find out what tech stack they were doing before applying and everything. And that was fun.
Developers. At least this is my understanding. And this is the comment that today the market is tech bingo. Like 3 years ago, it was much easier to get.
If you just arrived, my name is Nuno Maduro, PHP and Laravel developer. If you're enjoying today's live stream, go all the way down and put like on this YouTube video. You can also support my work financially by becoming a Twitch subscriber or a YouTube member. Both of them are awesome in terms of supporting my work.
An interview, you were bombarded usually on LinkedIn by recruiters. So if you want to get a job, you have to really stand out from like 100 other candidates.
Yeah, I used to live in Paris, by the way. So I moved there. The story of my life is actually interesting. I don't think I have done well. I've told my story multiple times, but I can tell you a small secret about my story. So when I finished my master in Portugal, I immediately knew that I had to move from Portugal to kind of improve in my career, because salaries in Portugal, back in the days at least, they were horrible. Like when I tell you horrible, I was my first salary in Portugal was $700, $700 a month. Okay, that's that was bad. And I remember like thinking, I just need to move away from this. I need to move to a different country and start a different life with my wife and everything. So I made some savings. I made a savings of 12K, $12K dollars in savings. And I moved to close to Paris. So I rent a home and I didn't have a job. So basically, my goal was like, okay, I'm going to stay there for 3, 4 months. And when I'm out of money, I'm going to go back to Portugal. Okay, that's my goal. And during this time, I just need to find a job. And I was super scared of not being able to find a job because I didn't spoke any French. So at the time, and I only speak English back then. And I applied for 1,000 jobs, 1,000 jobs, and I got recruited on my very first one. So I literally went to a job interview, the very first one of the day, meaning that I had like fucking 30 job interviews scheduled for the same day in Paris. And I got recruited by the very first one. They start making me questions. They saw that I knew a lot about PHP because I was doing already CodeIgniter, E2, and PHP, JavaScript, and everything, Angular, MySQL, everything. And they said, well, we want to hire you. What is your salary expectations? And I was so naive because basically what I wanted is like enough money to pay my rent and to just have money to have food and to just have a life in Paris. And I just said, I don't have any expectations. Just give me whatever you guys want. And so I went from, it was crazy, by the way. So I went from $700 a month to something like 3,500 a month. And I was so loaded. Like I felt so loaded back then. Anyways, that's a fun story. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. You did some Angular? Yeah, I did. Back in the days, some Angular, indeed. Angular sucks, but I did, yes. At least it sucked back in the days. Agent is saying, always ask them for the range. Before dropping the first number. I know. So you can ask. That's actually like one of the many things that I do think that I wouldn't apply for the job before watching is that I really appreciate when a job offer have the range of the salary open for everyone. I think that's a good thing. It's a green flag. Let's call it that way. And thank you, Boyd. Thank you. Then, too late to the live stream. I missed the DDD part. Yeah, we talked a little bit about that. Popok is saying 3,500 is very decent today. Yeah, that was back then, man. And I can tell you, jumping from $700 to 3K month salary, I was so loaded. I was doing stuff that I've never done in my life, like going to restaurants, being able to just, do whatever I wanted to, really.
The same position. So if you send like 20 CVs and you haven't got any interviews in this current market, that is the reality. It's not that uncommon. Of course, you can improve your communication skills and CV and presenting yourself and stuff like that. But generally, my point here is that the market is hard.
Chat, I won't tell you my salary, but I can tell you that salaries of developers, they change across the world, meaning that you have people making 12K a year, you have people making 30K a year, you have people making 60K a year, you have people making 100Ks a year, and you have people making 250K a year, okay? It really depends of where are you based on, what are your connections, what is the company you work for, if it's an American company or if it's like, a company from Europe, for example. There is a lot of variables. But what I can tell you is that something you guys can do is ask ChatGPT something like, well, where are the countries where there's the highest paid salaries, for example, and ChatGPT will give you a list. And then you can say something like, well, I don't work for any of those countries. What I can do to work for those countries? And ChatGPT will tell you something like, well, you can open a company and then freelance, or you can just freelance for those companies, and you can just ask, well, how can I do that legally? What is the best way to start in XYZ? And maybe ChatGPT can give you a plan, you know? Pick and Flow is saying the following: I have renegotiated my salary at the time of the COVID, and I don't think I get a job at this rate right now. Ooh, yeah. By the COVID times were actually good for developers, I feel. On the very early days of COVID, I feel. The scale of the company, of course, exactly. Yeah, I do speak French, man. Okay, Chad, let's continue to watch this.
Point that some users make in this post is that PHP powers so much of internet. Of course, it's WordPress a lot, but still. So many websites with PHP, but the market for PHP isn't growing and isn't booming. Why? It's weird. And the language itself got much better from like PHP 4 days. We had PHP 7, PHP 8 improvements, so it's remarkably better compared to like 5 years ago. And my personal interpretation of that is that PHP was very popular for especially simple websites like 5 to 10 to 15 years ago, and a lot of websites were created at that time with PHP. Again, mostly WordPress, and WordPress is one of the reasons of bad reputation of PHP in other communities, to be honest.
It's funny because WordPress is like what makes PHP being used by 70% of the world, but also at the same time is a reason for bad reputation. Doesn't make any sense.
Frameworks came in like CodeIgniter, CakePHP, Symfony, and Laravel. So a lot of especially small businesses were starting with PHP like 10 years ago. But I feel that not enough new projects are being started with PHP and frameworks. Currently, if a new startup is starting a website or web application, it's almost the default to have Next.js, React, and, for example, Supabase on the backend. So if you ask AI to generate a website, it will...
yeah, React might be the default. I don't think Next.js is the default, though. You know, I have seen a lot of people saying that are using Laravel with React, that are using Go with React, Spring Boot with React, and, you know, but not Next.js being the default. At least, you know, that's what I think.
Almost always go with React first, and Laravel as a framework will be like in top 3 or top 4. So I think the argument of PHP powering a lot of internet is about projects that were created like 5+ years ago. And we need to showcase more modern, new projects with PHP. And I did try to find them. I made my research, not sure if you saw on my social media and Twitter.
I don't think like you should trust on AI to choose the defaults of your project, Adam, by the way. Okay. Meaning that, again, AI is very bad when scaffolding a lot of things in a single prompt. And obviously, like if you're asking for building something, I think you should have already the structure in place, and the AI should be responsible only for developing a subset of your code, ideally a small one. Okay, Yamdabad is saying the following, but also a lot of companies ask for Angular knowledge. Angular is becoming better in the sense that it was bad at some point, but now it's actually becoming popular once again. Ethan is saying, hello from Italy. How you doing, dude? Nice to see you.
I released this repository of stories of large Laravel and PHP projects with real stories from real people on social media, sharing the numbers like millions of requests and big numbers. And also at the end, there are revenue stories like these one smallish project for like indie hackers and stuff.
There's my name on there. Nuno Pinkery is running on PHP 8.3, Laravel, Tailwind CSS, Past Livewire, and Alpine. Yes, it is.
Smallish project for like indie hackers and stuff. So there are a lot of stories. They are not that vocal enough, I think. So this is where I see my mission. I will continue updating this repository. And if you want to showcase your project here, just email me povilas@laraveldaily.com or reply to this YouTube video or make a pull request. I'm pretty approachable. But basically, we need to show the businesses that PHP and Laravel specifically is still great to power new businesses, and then as a consequence of that, there will be more jobs. This is my theory and my aim for upcoming few years or so. And the final point I want to emphasize in this video is this comment. The question was, what were you doing for 120K a year? And the answer gives the context of the story of that particular person who worked up and was just below the CTO. So it was a story of probably great career ladder path, raising the salary, being in the comfort zone of the same company.
Yeah, one thing to keep in mind when talking about salaries is that try to not compare your salaries with your peers, at least your local peers, okay? So when you guys are like comparing salaries with the salaries you should receive, try not compare yourself with your local peers, people who work in companies like next to yours, within the same village, you know? Try to understand a little bit the broader market across all countries to literally try to understand like if you are actually being well paid.
Being trusted and stuff like that, but then new CTO came, and you know what often happens. So that salary of 120K basically describes the comfort zone of corporate structure of that particular company. So then with that context, this particular story is not that much about PHP, but it's more about 20 years. I'm not sure how many of them were in the same company, but previous was 120K, and this doesn't exist anymore on the market, not only for PHP. It's a general market trend for developers who were in a way overpaid or
to be fair, like 120K a year. If you are a regular software engineer, like either a junior or just a senior software engineer, a junior or a software engineer, this salary is definitely high for you.
Hired or overhyped, like 10 years ago when startups were booming, where money was raised left and right. And now in the current market, the companies are much more...
Yeah, this is pretext.
...reserved with
I
calculations.
assume, because they don't mention it, I assume it's pretext.
Trying to get...
Oh, no. On UK, by the way, when they... This is funny, because on UK, when they talk about taxes, they actually mention a salary which is between pre and post taxes. Because when they are... when people in UK, in just like in Europe, by the way, when they say these salaries, they are saying these salaries after the taxes from the company, meaning that the company pays the taxes, and then the leftovers are this, where you do have to pay your own taxes on this money. Okay, so if you are doing freelance, all of your salary, let's say, is pre-taxed, while if you work in Europe for a Europe employee, the salary discussed is post taxes from the company, meaning that you will have to still pay taxes in your side, social security taxes on revenue,
profitable and not just growing with revenue and stuff like that. So there's economy involved. It's not that much about PHP. But still, since we're on Laravel and PHP channel, we can discuss. Do you know any stories, or maybe your story is similar about PHP job market or Laravel job market in your country, in your industry? Is it that bad? And what would be your advice for someone who is looking for PHP or Laravel job at the moment? So yeah, this is my kind of reaction.
Chat, my advice for some of you who are currently unemployed and you are looking for a new job is that don't stop, meaning that it can become a little bit easy to not continue to study, but you just have to, okay? Learn a new language, continue to learn PHP, but other things within PHP, okay? If you don't know React yet, just learn React as well. You can learn how to become better doing MySQL queries or Postgres queries as well. Ship an actual thing, ship a product in production using something like Laravel Cloud or Forge. The process of actually shipping something is something that teaches you so much, in the sense that it's kind of easy to have an app running locally, but actually having that all the way down to production will teach you so much stuff as well. So every single day, just continue to learn, and that eventually will pay off. Okay. Spirit Falcon is asking if the market in Portugal is good for programmers. Hard to find a job. Where do I find one? On LinkedIn? I think LinkedIn might be the best option for you at the minute. I do think that if you are finding your very first job, you probably should find a job within your own country. Over time, you can start looking a little bit to the market and understanding if the market in your own country is paying you what you deserve. Francisco Pablo is saying the following: I believe Laravel is especially powerful for creating our own company and services. Absolutely. It's such a gold mine, basically. Okay. Neo Run Santos is saying the following: I always recommend people to contribute to open source. Yeah, that's absolutely something that everyone should do. I was talking about learning a little bit more MySQL and Postgres and everything, but if you haven't done anything like open source, that's something you should absolutely do. Okay, it will bring you so much knowledge. You will be learning with other people. You literally have free code to watch and review as well. So Pina, how you doing? Nice to see you. Spirit Falcon is saying the following: I'm working in Portugal. I think my salary is good, but I'm checking the market. Yeah, man. And now we have AI. Things like ChatGPT can bring you so much knowledge. You can literally tell ChatGPT what he thinks about your salary. Like you say, I'm from Portugal. I'm getting this money at the minute. What is the average salary of someone like me in Portugal? But also, what is the average salary of someone like me on another country? And then you can just decide by yourself. Okay. Gilad is saying the following: is React really better language to learn over Vue.js? I think React and Vue, they are very similar, in my opinion. Like, I haven't, I actually think all the JS frameworks, all of them are so similar at the minute. Solid.js, Vue, React, and all of those not meta frameworks, but all of those spectrum of frameworks, they are so similar at the minute that I think once you learn one of them, you are going to very likely be good with the others as well. And yeah, I was trying to think about Svelte, but it took me a while. Dibin20 is saying the following: is DevOps necessary to learn for a junior developer? I know Laravel and React, but I'm also learning Go currently. I think DevOps, it's its own position, meaning that on the companies I typically work for, being a DevOps guy is something that that I'm not. For example, there are dedicated people who understand infrastructure and everything. However, it is actually good for you if you want to learn that as well. So that will bring you better and good job opportunities. Okay. Justin is saying the following: I just hired senior level developers that I found on Twitter. They were passionate about Laravel and make regular posts about it. I didn't even considering using LinkedIn. And understanding DevOps will make you a better developer, that's for sure. There are problems that DevOps solve there are problems that exist on DevOps that, if you know in advance, will make you undeniably a better programmer, for sure. I think many of us who lived on this era of physical servers, like many of us here on the chat today, we have actually shipped apps on droplets, on actual physical servers. We had to SSH into servers and XYZ, which makes many of us actually being programmers, DevOps people, okay? Because many of the JavaScript front-end developers today and JavaScript developers in general, they know nothing about DevOps. I was actually talking with a dude back, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or something, who told me that, I was asking him like, okay, you building your own application for learning? And he told me, yeah, and I said, well, what are you doing? He said, I'm doing this app where I can store some to-dos and everything. And I said, that's perfect. You are learning. And I asked him, okay, what are you using for deploying your app? And the guy told me, I'm using AWS Incognito for auth. I'm using AWS DynamoDB for caching. I'm using AWS XYZ for everything. And I was like, what the actual fuck, you know? So you are doing a to-do list and you are hosting that shit on a tank ready for hosting Facebook. You know, I told him that you are going too far. Like, honestly, you can just do that on the fucking $3 droplet. And that will bring me more learnings, by the way. But Doyo is saying the following: Hi Nuno, I'm from Brazil. Think the market is pretty good for a senior PHP developer. Yeah, in Brazil, PHP is so popular, and that's so awesome. I've been working for a US company for the past 4 years. That's awesome, man. Nice to hear that. I'm happy that you are doing great, man. Adrian is saying the following: That's what AI thinks about my income. You are objectively rich by Australian, most people's standards. Congratulations. Most freelancers in Vienna dream about 1/5 of that. Just keep optimizing on taxes and reinvesting the surplus, and you will be living, you're set for life very quickly. That's awesome, man. Spirit Falcon is saying, what is the Telegram of PHP Portugal? Go to php-portugal.com/telegram. He's preparing the to-do list for long-term mentality. Growth long-term mentality. Oh my God. Chat, you guys are absolutely awesome. But today, that's it for me. Chat, I have exciting news. I literally forgot. Jesus Christ. Chat, okay? Chat. Listen to me for a second, okay? Listen to me for a second. So let me go to my Twitter real quick. I do have exciting news, but I literally forgot about those. Okay, so last week, we had this beautiful live stream with Brent Rose, okay? The guy creator of how is it called? Tempest PHP, works for JetBrains, and many of you enjoyed my conversation with Brent, meaning that when I was live streaming with Brent, my numbers pretty much skyrocket in the sense that people really enjoyed the energy that me and Brent had together. So Brent and we talked about that, and we said, well, I honestly had a lot of fun talking with you, meaning that you are literally a geek on PHP, an expert on PHP, and we actually have a lot of stuff to talk about. Like, we love be talking about this stuff, and we can do this for all day. And we came up to the conclusion that it was actually very cool to do this recurrently, do this more often. And Brent is coming to the channel again next Friday, okay? So within 2 days, he will be coming to the channel again, and we are going to dive deep into some PHP expert stuff. We are going to talk about all of the most geek things you can think of regarding PHP, and will be super awesome, just like the previous live stream we had together. He's coming next Friday, and we are very likely to jump into either a monthly stream together or a bi-weekly stream together. So we don't know yet, because he has family and I do have family too, so we don't know yet. But it's just likely that we are going to do more content together, because we love to be just in the same stream talking about PHP. So, expect that next Friday, okay? Next Friday. The schedule, though, will be a little bit different from the usual, meaning that will be by lunchtime in Portugal, by morning on the US, by evening on Asia, okay? So it will be 8 hours before my regular stream, okay? And so, yeah. I think that's awesome news, by the way. I'm super happy about having Brent more often on my channel. Exactly, normal time in Europe. That's right. Chet, I love you all, man. I love you all, but I have to go. It's 10 p.m. Like, what the fuck? Okay, let's rate someone as usual. If you are on YouTube, something that we always do on Twitch is that we rate people, meaning that we send all of my viewers to a different channel. Before we do that, make sure you give me a follow on TikTok. I don't know if any of you has TikTok, but if you do, give me a follow there. And I'm also on Instagram, so give me a follow there as well. Be sure to also, where do I have that? Oh my God, here we go. Be sure to also give me a follow on my new clips channel. which I'm publishing content every single day, pretty much. Give me a follow there, and let's make sure we rate someone on Twitch. When you go there, just palm the PHP icon if you can. I think that will make it super fun if you guys do that, all right? Okay. Who do we have online? Do we have anyone doing PHP, Laravel, anything? Let's see. Hey, Valtix Official, good night, man. By the way, if you guys want to join my Twitch channel so we can do the raid, I think that will be awesome. Where do I do this? I don't have my Twitch channel at any like thing. Do I have it here? Oh, I do. Here we go. Thought I didn't have the link. Okay, well, what the fuck? Can I copy it? Okay, that's the link for my Twitch, by the way. Okay. Here we go. Asia is in the future. What the fuck? US lives in the past. Oh my god, you should see Australia, by the way. It's probably like fucking 9 a.m. for them right now. Okay, who do we have to rate? Chat, do we have anyone doing PHP on Twitch at the minute? Let's see. Let's search for PHP people and then Laravel to find anyone. Oh, we do have someone, but it's like in Spanish, I think. Yeah, that's it. Should we rate it still? Let me see if it's PHP. No, it's React. Okay, GG. Jesus, after literally a stream talking about React stealing PHP jobs, and now we just, we find a stream that is titled PHP, but he's doing React. No good, huh? Oh, we have a Portuguese streamer that is streaming Laravel stuff with 2 viewers. This will be awesome, okay? This will be awesome. So it's called Combizera. Let's see. Combizera. Let's go here and raid 2222. This will be so awesome. Okay, Combizera. Here we go. Oh, this will be hilarious. It is Portuguese though. So, if the guy starts speaking English, stay. If you don't enjoy, maybe leave. I don't know. All right, chat. I love you all, okay? I love you guys so much. Catch you guys next time, next Friday. Peace out. Boo.